So there's a lot of great restoration work going on, and we do try to get together and collect the information that we can. And we have 3 types of awards. We have the SERA Award for Ecological Restoration Excellence, and we divide that into small and large, and 50 hectares is the nominal boundary. Then we have the Kunamor Student Award, and then we have the Albert Morris Award, which is a consortium with SERA and 4 total restoration organisations. So Tina, I think at least this is in black, so it would be yours to speak because I'm green in colour.
And as one of the people the other day, when I talked to them on the phone about them potentially coming to the award, and they were a farmer group, and they said there's a little bit of green in all of us, you know. So I want to actually go straight towards an announcement of 4 highly commended projects. Now, unfortunately, we can't show slides on their projects, but we would like to name and briefly describe those projects. Now, unfortunately, again, we haven't got the winners here in person or anybody who can accept the award on their behalf. We only have one group. So Winton Wetlands. Winton Wetlands is a project of nearly 9,000 hectares of temporary and intermittent wetlands in northeast Victoria. Some of you may have seen some in the Arts and Restoration session. There was a Winton Wetlands representative there talking about their project. It's very exciting. They're making great progress. I think all of these projects have award-winning capacity. It's just they're still young. The degradation is so large or intense that recovery is not yet at that stage where they can really demonstrate the results. So Winton Wetlands is one. Bushmead Estate is another. Bushmead Estate is an urban development in Perth, about 16 kilometres from Perth in Western Australia. And they have planned and undertaken the development in such a way that they can conserve substantial areas of bushland and expand those in restoration while also providing housing. So the project proponent there is Trannan Vegetation Systems, Revegetation Systems, and again, highly commended. Another one, Dakalanta, is that the correct pronunciation? Which is a wildlife reserve run by the Australian Wildlife Conservancy and supported by Landcare Australia. And that's a she oak grassy woodland on the Eyre Peninsula of South Australia. Dakalanta, we haven't got someone here. James Walsh was going to, he's not in the room, is he? No. So, and finally, we do have one in the room. Barappa Wemba Wetland Restoration, an Indigenous-led, I believe, wetland restoration project in Victoria. And I'd like to, that goes to the Barappa Wemba Water for Country Committee and Barappa Land and Water. And I'd like to invite Damien Cook to come up and represent his colleagues to collect that award.
So these are the finalists. We have the Victorian Coastal Wetland Restoration Program, which, as you can probably see there, they've restored 130 hectares of coastal wetlands and suggested almost $1 million in ecosystem services. Definitely very popular on social media, and they've been doing a great amount of work. Next, please. The next is the HIPMI Rainforest Reforestation Program project, and that started many years ago. They've done quite a lot of work on the back of the Atherton tablelands. They're trying to connect up some important areas, and just reading recently, they've had great connection, and there's been uptake from local landholders as well. So, I mean, I guess that's part of the seeding of a project and allowing other people to see the success that can go on.
And this one, I should mention that some of these projects are under 50 hectares and some of them are over. It's a bit of an arbitrary point. We make the distinction so that small projects are not competing with large ones if the large ones are good, but then it works the other way as well. Sometimes small projects are easier to get right than large ones, aren't they? And this is a funny project because it was entered as a small project, Snowy Adit, or is it called Snowy Adit? Yeah, in Kosciuszko National Park. But it's actually one of 20 projects that they've done there. These stockpiles of tunnel tailing stumps were left from the Snowy Hydro one. And when Snowy Hydro left, they provided some millions of dollars to National Parks and Wildlife Service to do some restoration. And yeah, some excellent work has been done there. You can read about it in the EMR journal and on the EMR Project Summaries webpage. So, you know, Snowy Adit is actually quite mature and showing very good signs of recovery from just being rubble.
And this is the Skyline Tier restoration, and that was a conversion of a large area of pine. 700 hectares have been treated. They had great local involvement. It's been going for many years, and they've been doing some very impressive work moving out the pine, getting rid of the weeds.
We have the Gold Coast City Council Conservation Estate, which is a 13,000 hectare conservation estate. Natural Area Management Unit of that council has been undertaking specialised ecological restoration across those areas on more than 450 sites. Over the last 16 years, they've covered more than 2,800 hectares of on-ground restoration works, including assisted regen and planting. And they work with other organisations as well. So it's unusual for an entire local government area to put forward their conservation estate. And this is one of the things we need to sort of tweak in the future. Maybe we will be creating different categories.
And this is the, was I speaking of this one? The Marra Creek water ponding community. 84,000 water ponds constructed, and restoration or restoring to a functional state, 42,000 hectares of biodiverse native pastures in degraded agricultural lands and inland New South Wales. A lot of big bulldozer use, but to capture the water in the landscape.
And I think that's, is that 7 finalists?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think the student awards the next year, that's it. So I believe Peter's now going to announce the winners. And we do have some of them in the room. Now, what we're announcing now is the winners of the SERA Awards. Remember, there are 3 more awards where, or 2, yeah, we've got to give the SERA Large and Small Award. We've got to give award the Student Award, the Kunamor Student Award, and the Albert Morris Award. So this is just the SERA Awards for large and small.
All right, so the winner for the SERA Award for Ecological Restoration Excellence, the small project, goes to the Mount Hippomee Rainforest Restoration.
Now, we were going to have a speech of acceptance from someone. Is there a recorded speech online, please? Could you tell me who that is? Because it might be the wrong person.
Scott Buchanan was.
Scott Buchanan's speech we're looking for. And Jen Ford, could you come and accept just on behalf of Scott Buchanan? Oh, you're taking the photo of yourself. Valerie.
I can.
Yeah, come up on here. I won't present it to you.
Oh, just Val can. There we go. That's perfect. Yeah, she's from Queensland. She's been to Atherton Tablelands at least once. Excellent. That was a, I think there's, yep, it's behind you, I think.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's a great honour to accept this award from SERA, who keep this community of restoration industries connected. As all who work in this field know, and as Paul Kelly so aptly describes it, from little things, big things grow. This award recognises the hard work of so many in the Wet Tropics Management Authority, but also all our partners over more than a decade. In particular, the South Endeavour Trust, our research partners, traditional owners, government agencies from all over, community groups, and of course, many, many, many volunteers. Together, we created a 1.7 kilometre habitat corridor that connected 142 hectares of remnant and regrowth forest in the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area. Thank you all.
Great.
Okay, fantastic.
No touching.
No touching, we're not allowed to touch. Okay.
We're in Darwin, it's okay.
So the next one is also a major award winner and gets its own ads.
And this one's in black, so you're announcing it, but I can announce it.
No, we're swapping. We're doing what they do on the morning show, you know,
Yeah.
from the male to the female. Okay, now this is another one where we may have a no recorded message. No, we have a live person accepting it. We do indeed. We have Shah Malloy, who's the co-director of Environment NT, who's our guest this afternoon. I hope Shah has been able to make it. Shah, fantastic, because Shah is accepting this major award on behalf of Skyline Tier. The Northeast Bioregional Alliance have this fantastic project in Tasmania, Skyline Tier. And we're going to actually ask Shah to say a few words also.
But first we need a photo. Yeah. Have we got the trophy? I will get the trophy.
Great, fantastic. I know.
Ta-da!
Great, thank you.
And you can.
I've got it. So yes, good afternoon, everybody. And I am Shah Malloy, the co-director of the Environment Centre NT. And I'd like to acknowledge that we're on Larrakia land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And it gives me great pleasure to read this speech on behalf of Todd Dudley, who is the president of the Northeast Bioregional Network. And I am also actually personally a member of the Northeast Bioregional Network as well. So yeah, it's fantastic to be able to accept this award. So we're extremely proud and excited to have received this award, to be selected by judges who have extensive expertise in the ecological restoration field. And as the winner of this award is a much appreciated recognition for all the hard work over many years that have gone into establishing and maintaining the Restore Skyline Tier project. We thank SERA for organising this conference and awards and for being a leading voice and champion for ecological restoration and its importance for nature conservation. We acknowledge and thank our project partners, New Forests and Timberlands Pacific, for their contribution to the project and their willingness to work constructively with a conservation group and be open-minded about trying different conservation land management methodologies. We also would like to acknowledge all the other entrants in this and other SERA award categories, and indeed all of the people across the nation who regularly participate in bush regeneration and ecological restoration activities, because they have a deep commitment to and an affection for the unique native plants, animals and landscapes of our very special continent. Let us hope the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration can be a catalyst for ecological restoration to realise its full potential as a paradigm and unifying social principle in support of environmental healing and deepened understanding and caring for the natural world. And thank you very much.
We've got to move right along. So Peter's now going to announce the winner of the Kunamor Student Award, and we'll get ourselves ready.
I should know this. So the Kunamor Student Award goes to Aaron Eager. And you may have seen his presentation on the Kelp Forest Alliance project, and that is, there it is. And now more photos, rapid photos. Oh, good.
Now, very briefly, unfortunately, but we're going to ask the winner of this award, which is the Albert Morris Award, to come forward and also give a little speech. But the Albert Morris Award is very special. We have already mentioned this award a couple of times at this conference. It's in honour of the fellow who first came up with the technique of fencing livestock out of areas to allow them to naturally regenerate, and that ended up creating the entire regeneration reserve around the city of Broken Hill in the 1930s. So we honour that by awarding a prize every 2 years to someone who is doing something similarly special that has not only environmental benefits but also social benefits in the reinstatement of ecosystem services. And I would like to announce that the 2021 Albert Morris Award for Outstanding Ecological Restoration goes to Marra Creek Water Ponding Community. And I'd like, we invite Ray Thompson to come and give a little acceptance speech. Now, Ray has come all the way from Marra Creek, especially for this occasion, and we thank him very much, and he'll join us for dinner as well. It's amazing. Ray's worked in this area for 40 years, and the achievements they've made on the ground are absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Teen. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Marra Creek water ponding community, I'd like to really thank the Society of Ecological Restoration Australasia for recognising the Marra Creek water ponding project that's been running there now 37 years, but over total 80 years. The prestigious Albert Morris Award, thank you very much. Not far from home, Broken Hill. I'm at Nyngan, so it's a day's drive. But that award, we've established ecological restoration. Our planning has gone right back to 1940s, right through to 1980, 84. And then the Marra Creek water ponding demonstration program that they were named for those 4 years from 1984 to 1988 was to virtually take what those pioneers did from the 40s right up to the 80s and pull it apart and make water ponding a success. Now, there's so many people to thank, but before I do that, probably there's not many people in here know what water ponding is, but just a brief little what it's all about. We've lost 30 centimetres of topsoil in an area of 100,000 hectares just north of Nyngan. Now, this was developed in Nyngan, and that 30 centimetres, it's a duplex soil type, Sandy loam is gone. We're left with a clay with a 3 millimetre crust. No water can penetrate that crust. So to be able to get something back into there, we've put nice big horseshoes that holds 10 centimetres, and that is a particular depth that doesn't kill out your native grasses. So everything's related to bringing back our native grasses and shrubs. So that 10 centimetres is a vital in our survey of the actual work. So we've gone about and using just natural rainfall that falls on the clay pan, holding that there, shrink swell method, bust the crust open, that clay swelling underneath with water sitting on top. That allows the wind-blown seed to go down, the moisture go down, and with 5 average years, we can take it back to their best ecological environment that you can believe for a duplex soil type. So to thank a few people, I'd have to go right back to the early pioneers of the Soil Conservation Service. They persisted with soil and vegetation sort of trials from the 40s right up to the 80s. Thank you to all those fellows. They are all virtually based in Nyngan or round Condobolin, over to Broken Hill, Hay, trying to work out how to do water ponding. We did checkerboards, we did furrows, we did all that sort of thing. I'd also like to thank the landholders themselves in the Marra Creek area, because without them, the whole project couldn't exist. Now, we started off with 18 landholders. We ended up with 175 landholders that have taken this on. And we've gone from that one water pond, half a hectare, now to that 42,000 hectares we've actually reclaimed using this system. And not only in Australia, we've jumped into Africa. We've gone all over the world. So wherever a duplex soil type is in the rangelands, this system can be used. A few other thank yous go to the Soil Conservation Service, right through 7 name changes in departments. So you've got to battle your way through those, right up to today's Local Land Services, and for their willingness and persistent to drive this with the landholders. It's been a partnership for the whole 37 years. And also up the back there, I'd like to thank my wife. I said to her back in 1984, 4-year project at Nyngan, we'll go over 4 years, we'll be off. 37 years later, we're still there and we're still doing it all over Australia. There's been a lot of partnerships. The whole system has been partnerships. A lot of universities have come on board, ANU, Armidale, Sydney Uni, Western Sydney Uni. They've all come out. I don't know how many doctorates been developed out of water ponding, but they've all picked on little components of the water projects, and they've honed in, and we've come back out with how much carbon we're producing now, gone from 18 tonne per hectare now up to 25 tonnes per hectare, just by putting those water ponds on those clay pans. So it's an increase of 6. But probably some of the outstanding ones has been the projects of the Commonwealth Government that have gone through New England University. It involved the AusAid projects, and they brought out Africans to train at Nyngan to do water ponding and water spreading, 2 techniques. So over the 3-year period, we trained 71 individuals from 28 different African countries to do this water ponding. They've gone back and put into place in their villages water ponds. We knew they didn't have machinery like we do here. Hoes, shovels was the thing they had. I got an email late one night, and the lady said, look, I'm putting in a project to my government. Can you read through this? And I read through it, and it said I wanted 1 armed guard per 5 water ponds. Now that's taking the rehabilitation technique to a new level of an armed guard for every 5 water ponds. The other one sent back photos. He just dug a little pit right round, and he sent the ladies up the hill, and they brought back stones and they put in that pit, packed a bit of dirt with it and send photos back, fully ponded grass coming up. There's different ways of doing different things, but with cooperation between all the different organisations, we've kept powering ahead. Young Bill McKillop is going to come tonight. His plane didn't get in till quite later. He sends his apology. He's the third generation of one of these Marra Creek Land Care and water ponding group. He's started with his grandparents, then his mum and dad, and now Bill. And he was going to get up here and let him have a bit of a say, but he can't make it tonight. So the conference theme, I was reading there on the thing, restoration, connecting land, water, culture, and environment. We hit all those with our water ponding outcomes. Connecting the water, rainfall that falls, instead of creating erosion by water erosion and then wind erosion, we're harvesting that water, stopping that runoff, ponding it at that 10 centimetres. Once it's full, it just biwashes and keeps on going. And virtually stopping that wind erosion, causing all those dust storms on those duplex soils, getting Indigenous back on country. Everything we do, we go out and we walk the clay pans and look for sites. It is so fascinating what we find. And then we can actually protect those sites with our water ponds. The environment, it's ended up being a total winner. We've got landholders and the environment. Once we've put the water ponds on there, they're achieving what the landholder's looking for, but behind him, the environment is just booming. You go out on a clay pan, there is nothing there. It is bare. So now there is grasses. We go back into all our native veg, all our native grasses, all our bushes, salt bushes, and it's ended up, the environment has been the winner. So virtually, thank you very much. We've taken virtually a sterile landscape and put life back into it. Thank you.
We may have the chair of SERA online still. Bruce, are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
We'd love you to close the conference if you may, and we apologise for holding you on. So I hope nobody has
Everyone look away
epilepsy
from the
because
screen.
we've got a strobe light happening here.
Right, so we've got it up on the screen now. So you can hear me clearly, and you can see the screen. And
can't see the screen. It's there now.
Well, the screen, it's there now. I can see it being shown up on the BallRoomA screen right now. Okay. So I just wanted to say a few words to close off this amazing conference. So I will first of all read out the thanks to the many people who've made this possible. And so as you all know, that there have been lockdowns and border closures, which have meant that we were not 100% sure actually whether this in-person conference would even happen. However, the local committee has pushed through, and here we are now, having completed a very successful SERA 2021 conference in the top end. Those are your words, Peter. I'm assuming that means the top end of Australia, but I'm never quite sure with the Australian lingo. So
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. So we want to sincerely thank the conference organizer, Britta Decker, and her team from Adjurteur, who have had to cope with many ups and downs. We also acknowledge the energy and driving force of Renee Bartolo and her team, David Lowensteiner, Jane Nicholson, and Tim Whiteside from the Office of the Supervising Scientists, and Sean Bellairs from CDU to make sure that things worked so smoothly. I want to reiterate too our thanks to the many sponsors and everybody who's contributed to this conference and the support that Northern Territory Business Events gave us as well. So my next slide would be good now. So look, I just wanted to remind you, somebody said, I think it was Lucy who said today in her talk, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. There'll only be one UN decade of ecosystem restoration because they're always looking for other things to focus on. And so this is our one opportunity. And I just wanted to remind you of all the things that we should be doing to really make this work. And I encourage all of you actually to have a look at the SER website, because it's got all sorts of great information up there. If you could move to the next slide. And these are just some of the things. And of course, the most important thing is the date of the official launch. So the official launch of the Decade of Ecosystem Restoration is actually going to be the 5th of June, which is also World Environment Day. And I just want to encourage everybody, all the NGOs we've been talking to today, all the membership, to make sure that we try and do something on that day to mark the beginning of this momentous decade of ecosystem restoration. Of course, SER is proud to be a recognized global partner, and we as members of SERA come under that umbrella. So let's just think about what we can do in that list of specific activities and initiatives to make sure we help promote this amazing opportunity. Next slide. So, of course, normally at this time of a conference, a SERA conference, we're in a position to say something about where our next SERA conference will be. Well, of course, because of the particular circumstances of what's happened this time, it is impossible for us at this stage to say, but I can give you my assurance that the board is working on it. And I also suggest that if you are connected to the Quebec World Conference coming up in September, you might want to listen out there for some other important announcements. That's about all I can say about that at this stage. And I've got, I guess, to the final and most important part of a closing address. We have a custom in New Zealand, which is essentially a multicultural approach to this. So there is a famous song that was written, Po Atarau, E Moia, Iho Ne, which in English is, now is the hour for me to say goodbye. I wanted to raise this topic also because it's another classic example of that interesting interaction between us in New Zealand and you guys in Australia. This is another one of those areas where there is some dispute about who wrote which part. In the same way we debate who invented the Lamington and who actually had the great racehorse Phar Lap, where he came from. There is also some interesting debate that goes on in relation to the song. Anyway, I'm going to spare you that. I'm not going to sing it for you, but I just wanted to reiterate, this is the hour for me to finally say goodbye, to thank everybody for what they've done in this amazing conference. And also, as we say in Aotearoa New Zealand, ka kite anō, which means see you next time. Safe travels until we meet again. Thank you very much.